Hello and welcome to the Comedy Club podcast. I am Dustin Kaufman. Thanks for watching. Make sure and follow us across the board. First, before you do that, hit subscribe right here. Follow us, share, like with your friends. You can follow us at the Comedy Club Pod on Instagram, or just follow the Comedy Club at Kansas City simply at thecomedyclubkc.com or the Comedy Club KC on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those wonderful things. All right, we're going to get to it. Here with me today, it's an honor to have you here, Bobby. Mr. Robert Kelly. Do you prefer Robert or Bobby? I hear everybody call you Bobby, but your advertisements are Robert.
It's the reason I named my son Maximus.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to have to go through the shit that I go through with my 2, 4, 15 names that I have. Bob, Bobby, Rob, Robert. It sucks. You call me whatever you want, dude. You know what I mean? I don't care. Robert, dude. What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Call me a pronoun. I don't give a shit. Don't matter.
I'm glad you're here, dude. Rob Bob.
Yeah, Rob Bob. Rob Bob's nice. I actually like Rob Bob. Rob Bob is catchy.
Rob Bob.
Yeah, I was supposed to be named Nicholas Anthony Kelly, which would have been the shit. Because Nicholas Anthony, what
happened?
My grandmother were from Boston, Irish Catholic, racist. No, I'm kidding. And it's got to be, like a Patrick Kelly had to be in there, and she changed it the last second to Robert because Anthony was too Italian, and Nicholas seemed Italian, and Robert was like the middle ground, I guess. Like when I had my son.
So is it Robert Patrick?
It's Robert Patrick Kelly.
Okay.
But in SAG, it's Robert Donlin Kelly. It's fucking nuts. But my son's name, I went through problems too. My grandmother, she's in a nursing home, and I'm like, we're having a baby. We're naming him Max. And she was like, no.
One kid, right?
One kid.
Yeah. And
she's like, no. And I'm like, what? She goes, it has to be a saint. It has to be like Joseph, Paul. It has to be from the. And I'm like, she goes, that's Jewish. I'm like, it's not. Max, it's not the Jewish version. You know what I mean?
Like corned beef can be very Irish or very Jewish.
The Jewish one's way better. But
you got a Reuben?
I literally went, and me and my wife, I just was like, don't worry about it. I went Saint Maximus because they give a saint to fucking anything. So they had Saint Maximus, so we named him Maximus. I was going to name him Maximus anyways. The full name was always Maximus because me and Patrice, I remember years ago, we always used to philosophize about stupid shit, and we were talking about later in life when we have kids, what we're going to name our kids. It's got to be fucking cool because his name was fucking, let's be honest. He was named after, a fat black woman, Patrice. And I was named, my name sucked, so we came up with Maximus from Gladiator. Is a great name because it's, when you yell at your kid, it's like, Max is not enough.
Maximus.
Maxima.
Like when you pronounce the entire name.
It's because it starts like this. Max. Not enough. Maximus. It's that thing at the end.
Yeah, it's the dad voice right there.
I got a good dad voice.
Yeah.
I do have. I've actually had to tone it down. It's so weird because I gave my son permission to tell me if I go too far. Because your shit just comes out of you, and
it's interesting.
I don't want him to go through what I went through. I don't care if it makes it fear makes it easier, right? It just does. So I don't hit my kid, but I was raising my voice, which is the same thing. I was like, that's the same thing as hitting him. He's having the same trauma. When I go, what the fuck? What are you doing? I saw him do that once, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
I can't. So I gave him permission to tell me to, when I'm going too far. But I don't like.
Does that work?
It works just as long as he doesn't say relax. If you go, Dad, relax.
Don't you tell me to relax.
I don't know what it is about that triggers me. The word when someone goes relax, it's because it's the relax. When they lean into the relax at the end. It's like fucking. It does the opposite.
It's almost like they're devaluing your emotions. Like relax, don't feel like this.
I'll take that. Say that again.
What?
Yeah, just the way you said it.
Relax, don't feel like this.
Yeah, it's the lax shit. The relax at the end is go fuck yourself. But no,
even if they're like, don't you think you're overreacting just a little bit? It's maybe that's allowing you to see the perspective with a question.
That I can take.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Chill out. Always a good one. Dude, chill out.
Chill out,
Love
man.
that.
Chill.
Hey, man. What's
Sounds
up?
like it should have come with a joint. Chill
out, man. Chill out, I'll take. I love chill out.
Peace.
But now he'll literally go, hey, Dad, you're taking it a little too far. And I'd be like, and it literally snapped. I'm like, you're right. Sorry, everybody. Because it's just it. My mom is in me. My stepdad, that's just in you, right? So it just comes out, and you don't even realize it. So I gave him, and I gave my wife full permission too, but my wife doesn't use it because she likes when I take. She likes having something. You know what I mean? She'll just clam up and walk away and let me go off the hook, so she has something on me. You know what I mean?
And then she'll come in like, is everything okay, Maximus? Mommy's here.
Well, it's funny. My therapist, me and my wife, years ago when we were dating, we were having, my temper. I got a fucking temper. And having a kid really put that into focus for me. But when I was dating my girl, my temper would flare up. And I really was like, I want to work on this. Because it was affecting like friendships and stuff, And I was like, I had to go in. I was talking to him, and he said, she's just hurting your feelings. That's all it is. It's your defense mechanism, and she hurts you. And when you get hurt, you lash out. It's fight or flight type shit. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? And he's like, well, next time you get in an argument and you feel like screaming or yelling or whatever, just say, honey, you hurt my feelings. And I was like, I can't. Are you not? Do you know who I hang out with? Like, my wife. My wife's from Boston. You know what I mean?
Honey, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah, she'll go bang a biker. You know what I mean? She'll go fuck a plumber. I'm not. But I actually did it where. So we got to this big fight, and I felt me going, that thing, that little protector come out, and I was like, you know what? And I could see her because she was waiting for me to. She goes, what? And I was like, you hurt my feelings, and it got me all emotional to say it. I was like, she's like, she was like a fucking deer in headlights. She was like, what? I was like, you hurt my feelings. When you do stuff like that, it hurts me inside. And she was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And I was like, yeah, well, when you do that, it brings me back to when I was a kid and my stepfather used to, do that. And she's like, all right, I get it, queer. Relax. Relax. I understand.
Your father's being in touch with his emotions now, Maxie.
There is.
Do you see this? You see what he's trying to do here?
Dude, last week, my son, we were lying in bed, and so he'll go to bed at night sometimes, and I'll jump in with him and talk to him until he goes to sleep, and I'll bop out. So I get into bed with him, and he literally grabs me and pulls me into him, and I just. There's no feeling I've ever had. The drugs, I've been on stage in front of 20,000 people. Everything I've ever done has never given me a feeling of light like that moment when he grabbed me and pulled me in and held me. And I rolled over and I put my arm over him, and we kind of were just holding each other, and I put my head on his forehead, and I realized, like, I never had one time in my life have I ever been in a bed with a man, and I know this sounds, gay, but seriously, I've never been in a bed with a man where he held me in love. Just pure. Not once in my life have I ever had a man, all of my hold me and tell me that he loves me. Never. And I realized at that moment, like, I am so glad I get to be here. And I grabbed him, and I put my forehead on his forehead, and I was like, Maximus, I love you so much. And I am so proud of you. And I just want to let you know that I love you. And he's looking at me, and we're just looking at each other. He's like, Dad, this is kind of gay. And I was like, yeah, it's a little bit.
So,
and I just rolled over.
And how old is he?
He's 11.
That's so funny. Like, Dad, a little gay.
I'm expecting, I love you too, Dad. You know what I mean? But
I know you mean well. This is kind of dog water.
Yeah, this is kind of weird, Dad. Forehead to forehead. What are we, Indians?
You're smart name with the Maximus having the extra. So my youngest is just Alfie.
Alfie, I like Alfie.
Right? But it stops at Alfie. And he's cheeky. You can't go more unless you get louder.
No, all right. So try to yell at me as Alfie.
Alfie! You know, like a real one?
Yeah, try to do a real one.
I don't.
Like I'm playing with your weed.
I don't yell at my kids.
You don't yell like no, just your employees. Do you?
I have to play both roles, so I have to find the balance. I definitely can get hot. You know,
you get hot. You got hot in you.
You know,
I can see it. You got hot. You get hot. It's hard to get there, but when you get there, it's hot.
But I have to be mom and dad, so I do have to keep that balance.
Oh, really? You're the only parent. You're a single parent.
They're with her every other Friday night.
Every other Friday night. Okay.
So,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So 9 and 10. So yeah, I do have to find that balance, but I can definitely, and it's something I also have had to work on.
Way to bring the fun to a stop. No, he's with me. I have to be both because we're separated. Wow. Sorry.
Mr. Mom, right?
Sorry,
right?
Alfie. No, that's great. I mean, a lot of people I know are.
But I can, to reenact, I mean, dude, that's raw. I'm in it.
I'll do it. Ready? I'll do it because apparently you don't have the chops. Wow. All right, ready? You're Alfie. Ready?
Okay.
Just do fiddle with something. Play with the microphone. Alfie. Alf. Maybe you got to go Alf.
I just call him Alf sometimes, but not.
No, because that's weird. Because that's like the sitcom.
Yeah, but that's all right. It's the opposite way. Like you can't get shorter.
Yeah.
You know, I think you just had to. I'm not even big in the middle names either. But
you got to add a motherfucker at the front. Motherfucking Alfie. You got to add another word. I solved it. Motherfucking Alfie. You need that second.
I'm quick. Like if I start counting to 3, nothing. I mean, we never make it to 3, but like one time we had to have made it to 3 because I don't get to 3 anymore. I'm like 1, and they're like, if I say 2, they're like I'm going.
Now, dude, that's a crazy psychological magic trick that I was taught from my therapist. Right, that works like a fucking dog. He told me to do it. Count to 5. I'm telling you, you won't make it to 5. And I was like, all right. So I went home to my wife. I'm like, we're just going to count to 5. For some reason, psychologically in the human's brain, counting down fucks people up. And it works.
Patience. I count up 2, 3, right? But it's so counting down. I don't think I have the patience for 5. I'm like, dude, you know, it's that age where they're starting to become defiant. They want to.
Well, I got to 4 recently, and it was scaring me.
Because you're like, what am I going to do? That's what you're like, what? Please just do this. I don't know what I'm going to do. But you're going to make me do something.
You know what I'm going to do? I get to 5 one day, and I'm just going to have a cake, and pops himself. You made it!
Glitter
Just have strippers come out.
Confetti's flying everywhere.
You did it. You're a man. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. Here's the problem with my son, too. I don't know.
I don't want to find out.
My kid is, he's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So his shoe is my size, probably a little bigger. He's at 11 now. I'm at 10 and a half. His hands are bigger. He's going to be around 6 something. He's going to be a monster. And, I got him in jiu-jitsu. I got him into wrestling. I got him in, all these sports. So I'm just making an assassin. I'm just making me.
6.
You know what I mean?
Dude, my 9-year-old is that way as well. He's bigger than his older brother. He's bigger than his older brother's classmate. Yeah. He's just tall.
Yeah.
Both their shoes are like 2 under mine. They're 9 and 10. I'm like, the hands are like getting almost to that last knuckle. I'm like, you guys are. You don't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He doesn't know. I'll bite his nose off.
Yeah.
I'll stick my finger in your eye. I'll blind you. Right. If something goes down, I'm a psychopath. I'm from Boston. I was in juvie when he was his age. Yeah. So I got shovels around the house. I was in juvie at 13 first time.
13?
13 that's why
can I ask what it was for?
Yeah.
What was it for?
Murder. No.
That was the case that they gave me.
It was unarmed robbery. Unarmed. Assault and battery, malicious destruction, trespassing, and breaking probation. So when you're a kid, you do one, you do another one, it kind of adds up. And when you get to the point where it's like, all right, you're done. You know what I mean?
You got caught pretty early on.
I got caught. I got at 10 the first time I got arrested. I think 10 or 11. I got arrested for ripping off a canteen truck.
Where did you grow up?
Medford. right outside of Boston.
Okay.
But it was the 80s.
So like at 10, like how do you start? I mean, at 10, I see my kids at 10. Like, so like, when did you start getting in trouble, like, and finding the kids that
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade. I remember I didn't have friends. So we went from living with this abusive dude, right? For 5 years of my life. I mean, just physical, mental abuse.
Like a mom's boyfriend?
Husband. Just abuse, just, and having no friends. Because look, from, I think 2nd to 6th grade is a hard time for kids because you're not really making friends. You know what I mean? You're not really hanging out every day. It's not like high school. You know what I mean? It's a weird stage. So add on loneliness. Me and my sister separated because for survival. She was older than me, but he was abusing her too, like, telling her fat, calling her fat, stupid, smacking her, me too. So we separated, to survive. And then around 6, I was so desperately alone and just feeling, I was in a depression, I was sad, I was alone. So when kids started coming into my life, I did whatever it was. And the day I remember it happened is the Silvanos next door were having a party, 2 hot sisters, and they had all people over, and I wanted to go, but I didn't know how to go. I didn't know what to say. I didn't do anything. So I pretended like I was on speed. I think it was a Black Beauty. I don't even know what the hell that meant. I just knew that it was a drug people were taking back then. So I said, I showed up all fucked up. I was acting. I was faking. And I showed up. The interest that was shown in me, the girls came over to me. The 2 kids, Dickie and Scott, came over to me. They were, what did you do? I'm like, I was a Black Beauty. They were in me. They gave me cigarettes and taught me how to smoke. And I was the hit of the party. And I was like, oh my, I figured it out. And I remember I went home that night. I was completely sober. I didn't do anything. And
Not only was it attention, it was positive attention.
It was positive
Even
attention.
if it was for something negative.
You know what it was? It was love. It was a small form of love.
Yeah.
And I was desperately seeking that, and I found it. And all I had to do was do what they did to keep it, right? And it sucks because the timing, it just sucked. Because my mom had met another guy, Larry, who is, classic Italian dad. Sinatra, cooked, great, just the best guy in the world, right? I think that week, right? So I remember he came over and he's in the thing. He's talking to me. He's teaching me how to make chicken soup. He's like, what you want to do? And you put this in. And I made a whole big thing. I was having this great dad moment with this guy, and the doorbell rang, and it was Dickie and Scott. And these 2 guys I met when I was high, and they were like, hey, is Bobby in? And up to that point, when the doorbell rang and my mother was like, Bobby, it's for you, I was like, what?
This has never happened before.
Never.
Yeah.
Ever did the doorbell ring, and it's for me. And I remember they came out and they were like, come on, let's go hang out. And I was like, but I'm making chicken soup with Larry. And Larry comes out. He's like, bring him in. Come on in. And he's such a sweet guy. We all had chicken soup, and we sat there, and they're like, hey, can we go hang out? And he was like, my mother was like, go ahead. I was like, all right, boys. It was like this Brady Bunch moment. And then we went out and we drank a bottle of Seagram 7 on the tracks, and we all puked up Larry's chicken soup. And that was the moment where it was right there. If it was a week before with Larry, I might have taken a different path, right?
Right.
I might have had that thing that I needed in life, the attention that I had, but I went that way. And when I went with those guys, it took me down a path for the next, Jesus Christ, 4 years of
It's so
craziness.
crazy that just you don't even think about the decisions we make on a regular basis, but how much those decisions can affect like
Years.
Years are just it is nuts.
It's nuts. It's because I went from them, and I always was upgrading the bad kids in my life. You know what I mean? So if a cooler, badder, tougher group of kids wanted me to hang, I went with them. And then I just kept going until I found the worst of the worst. And because that was protection, right? So I hung out with men. I was 13 hanging out with, 30-year-olds. drinking.
It didn't take you long, 3 years to climb up the ladder. You're like, guys, I'm at the top.
Yeah, it didn't take me long, but there was a lot of bad shit, because when you hang out with, that type of person, right? When you hang out with people who are drinking and using drugs and beating people up and violence and, that type of thing, I remember your goal is to shut off your humanity, your empathy. You got to kill that. You have to kill what you are, because you can't feel, right? You can't feel bad for somebody. You can't feel anything. You have to shut down pain and all that shit. And I remember one of the greatest moments of my life during that time is me and Frankie went to the Somerville Projects, which is nuts back then in the 80s. You just don't go there, right? And we went to buy weed, and we wound up getting weed off this kid, and stupidly we wound up smoking it in the park in the projects at 12:30 at night or whatever it was. And these 4 guys came up and beat the fucking shit. Men. Mind you, I'm 13. And there was, men just kicking and punching us to get our money and weed. And I remember we were leaving. My friend was bleeding internally. I was blood head to toe.
Oh, my God.
And we were walking away. And I was like, Frankie. He's like, what? I'm like, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. He's like, what? I'm like, I didn't cry, dude. I just took a beating and I didn't cry. He's like, good for you, kid. And I was like, I fucking did it. I shut off all of it. You know what I mean? Now I can finally take a physical beating and not feel it and not show it. And it was like a proud moment of my life.
And going from like that closed off to where you look at your wife and you go, you're hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
That is so much in between that. And
Dude.
That's as a person, right? So like, I know for me, I got in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Yeah.
I never so much violence, but robbery, this, that. I mean, and once I got like on papers as a kid, it was impossible for me to get off because I never stopped smoking weed.
Right.
So it was bullshit that got me on, and then just weed continued to like linger and right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I and then drugs, and then I found comedy, and that was like the first positive outlet and consistent outlet I had in my life. And once I started doing stand-up and comedy, I never really got in trouble again. I never went backwards. That was that positivity I needed in life. Like, can you talk about like when going from like this into comedy, like was there I know you started comedy in college and then stand up a little later, but was there a part of you still lingering that comedy helped soothe a little bit?
No, I mean, I was sober. I go into rehab at 15, and I found that I found that way out of drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? So it was like I was really into AA and program for years, and that got me back into regular classes. And then I found art. When I found art in high school, that got me into college. I was going to be an art teacher or some shit, right? And then when I stepped into, I took an acting class.
So you were in AA at 15.
15, yeah.
Man, it's like such an early time, but I mean, that it's something a lot of people battle later, and it's crazy that you got to that point, but and amazing that you put yourself in, or whether you did it or courts were like you found this program and you made it work, and like you're like, I'm gonna better myself and I'm gonna move forward, I'm gonna grow up, and you had to make that decision at a really young age, which probably gave you a really big head start coming out of your like mid to late teens, where most people are probably finding that in their mid to early 20s.
Well, it's weird because it gave me the ability, like I was down here, so anywhere above that I was happy, right? Yeah. Anywhere above jail or rehab or, sleeping outside was great for me. So it allowed me to do what I wanted to do. Going back to school and, it was weird too, because I was always friends with everybody. I never got, after I got sober, I'm like, I was friends with the weirdos, the fucking, theater people, the jocks, the criminals, the project people. I just kind of related to everybody in that mix, and I never segregated anybody anymore. I hate fucking groups. I hate groups of where it's like, that guy is fucking, yeah, so what? It's always based on who you are, right, with me? Like, I don't care what you do or what so who the fuck are you, right? So when I got out of there, I when I got into like college and stuff like that, when I found acting, right? And then we did a talent show as a sketch comedy. I literally remember it hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. I'm like, I'm doing this. This is it. I don't know if it was the addict side of me, the instant gratification, or what it was. Getting a laugh to me. When we went out, we wrote these stupid skits. We did this improv thing, and you got a laugh from a crowd, this response when you wanted it. Like, it's supposed to come here, and it did. It was crazy to me. I remember going backstage going, I'm doing this. We're doing this. Fuck school. Fuck everything else. And I remember Dane, and they were like, dude, chill out. It's just a talent show. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? They were like, relax. I'm like, dude, no.
We crushed that talent show, man.
We crushed the Bunker Hill Community College talent show, and we won. And that's kind of where it took off, where this is it. Clubs, rehearsing, writing, doing all this shit. There's nothing else. It was tunnel vision. It was. I believe when you find that thing when you want to do, tunnel vision just automatically sets in.
And how long did you continue to perform with those guys?
We did Al and the Monkeys. It was hard because we were in Boston. Boston is a stand-up comedy mecca at the time, right? You're talking, it was the place. And the guys that were there, Steve Sweeney, Don Gavin, Kevin Knox, Joe Yannetti, Tony V. I mean, these guys are monsters in the business, and they're not going anywhere. So we're coming in as a, fucking improv sketch group, and nobody liked us. You know what I mean? Like the other comics, like the MCs and the middlers were like, because we go up and kill with sketch and improv, and in Boston, it's such a pure stand-up town. Like you do fucking jokes, Right. So it was hard for us to get shows because we just go annihilate with these things. And so we were forced to write stand-up sets. We came up with the idea, we all get 10 minutes. We open the show up with our stand-up, and then we do 45 minutes of our stuff. So the show is ours. We don't have to worry about fucking some other guy complaining about our bullshit or having to follow us. That's what we did. And we rehearsed 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. Like writing stuff and coming. It was a full-time job. We'd work. I had 4 or 5 jobs. We all had jobs, and then we'd meet. But all our jobs were like liquid. Like we could dump them at any time and pick up another job. You know what I mean? It was all bullshit jobs. It was all so we could do stand-up. It was all that we could meet at 5 o'clock, and then at Friday and Saturday nights off, and then we could, do shows every night. So that's what we did for years. We just did stand-up, and that's like when we met Billy. I met Patrice, Gary Gulman. Gary Gulman waited tables with me. I remember he came up to me because he had a golden handcuff job, and he was like, I'm quitting my job. I need a job. And I just like, come work with me at La Familia Giorgio's. I went to the, Italian guy who worked there. I go, my friend's working here. He's a guy, bring him in. I remember Gary waiting tables, like having to bend down because he was so tall, and his hand was shaking with the notepad. Chicken buona fortuna, and that's what we did, man. As soon as I found it, it was over. Over.
You're funny. So you're talking about the transition
to a female, yes.
to a female.
I'm gonna try.
So I just want to touch on one more thing here for we were talking about. Who we are. We're talking about their decisions and how we are that define us, and who we are. And who we learn to be at points of our life can like carry with us and stick with us and stuff. Was it hard for you at one point to say I'm not this person anymore? Because I know, like for me, like I would carry. It was hard. We don't always see ourselves, and we don't have people coming up and going, "Hey, you've grown up. You're not that teenager anymore." Did you carry that mindset? I mean, maybe going through it young, and it seems like you kind of.
I think that you fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, man. People will keep you in the box that they have you in. And if you're listening to them, then that's what you'll be. I feel like what you see is the performance. you don't see the production that goes, you don't see all the shit behind that curtain that goes on that I'm doing. You don't see it. You're not supposed to. And I can't explain it to you. And I can't make you understand it. You're not going to. And it's going to ruin it. You know, like if I listen to people and what they think of me, or it's not because I think you're always should be trying to change. Always. And it might take years. It might take months. It might take weeks, whatever it is. What I know, people know me from back in the day. You fucking go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? That dude still here when it needs to be. You know what I mean? When I need to, protect my family or whatever. But I inside changing my shit. You know what I mean? So it's like when you have other people in your brain, you're fucked. You're fucked because nobody wants you to change. Nobody really gives a fuck if you change. You know what I mean? And even if you do change, they're not gonna accept it. They're always gonna have you the way they have you in your brain. So if that factors into you changing, that's gonna halt it. You're gonna be thinking of somebody else. You know what I mean? You can't. Who you are inside. You have to. It has to be your thing.
Like some people really don't change though, and they are like, I know that there's people I know that I've known a long time.
Yep.
That are the same person. Yep. That they were when we were hanging out, however many decades ago.
Yeah. And that works for them, but It doesn't work for me.
Right.
So I can't really be around you.
And they do.
That's because as I change, I have to change the people that are in my life, right?
Right.
But it's funny because attraction rather than promotion is a big thing in AA, right? It's a thing. Like people that I know will see me, all of a sudden, oh, you got married? That piece of shit, right? He has a kid. He's a dad? You know what I mean? And then he bought a house. He has a life, and then you'll see other dudes be like, oh, well, I fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes the other way, too. Like, I remember when one of the reasons I became a father and got married, I remember I went over to Louis' house once, years ago, and he was with his kids. And he's in this little place in the Soho, where the fuck it was, and he's making pancakes for his kids. He's got this little loft apartment. It's kind of weird and cool. And he's making pancakes, and they have all the artwork up, and the kids are doing homework. And this is Louis. I know Louis as the fucking comic. And then all of a sudden I see him being the sweetest human being in the world. And he's doing all this stuff. And I'm like, if this piece of shit can do it, I can do it. If he can be married and have kids, I can fucking do this. And then he got divorced. I was like, after I made the decision to get married, I was like, fucking what? No, you can't.
No, dude, I'm married now.
You're perfect, dude. What are you doing? You know what I mean? But then I realized that you can be divorced and still be a great dad and have a great family, and your kids can be good too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just think your responsibility is your awareness of yourself and what you want to do.
I think that really shows when you're on stage too, like that mindset. I was watching you last night, and man, I just heard. I heard something recently. It was talking about music.
Yeah,
and it was write what you want to write. Right, because you have to write what you want to write. Because if you start writing songs that you think people want to hear, you're fucked. They're going to lose interest. It's not believable. And man, when you're on stage, you can tell that you are 100% not only yourself on stage, but you're pulling directly from your life.
Yep.
And and it's very raw. It's like you're like an exposed vessel. So,
yeah. Well, it's funny because you compare. This business sucks because you compare yourself. It's so hard not to, especially with social media now. It's hard to not compare
to other people,
to other people's success, other people's talent.
Man, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do.
It's the worst thing you can do.
That's when you become bitter and you become jaded, like
sad.
Yeah, you got to support your peers and people and You got to try to be genuinely happy for them.
And you're not. And when you see their failure, it makes you happy. You know what I mean? But
that's not, you don't feel like that about, I'm sure you have friends who you're genuinely excited for their success.
Yeah, of course. But the only time, when that happens is when you're not happy with what you got, right? So, like, I'm genuinely happy with my life. So when I see he's got a house and then another house and another house. I'm like, okay, I have a house. I love my house. It does the same shit his house does.
Right. And
in my house is my family, and we have great times. None of that, you know what I mean? It's like, do you want a house? You can get one. Like, people, this is my thing too. A lot of comics are waiting to get a certain amount of success to be happy, right? To say they made it. And 99% of the comics that are working, making money at this business, you made it. You did it. You're the top fucking percent of stand-up because you're getting paid to do it. And you're paying your bills with the money you get from it.
But you're still trying to make it.
Who is not still trying to make it?
I know.
Is every single comic out there. Jerry Seinfeld is still putting out specials. He's still trying to get to somewhere with his stand-up. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? You're supposed to try to get to you're supposed to constantly grow doing this thing and constantly push it, right? But the money you have in the bank or the houses you have, that's not making it. That's luck. Fucking luck. A lot of this shit's luck, dude. A lot of the guy met this guy at that time and he does this stuff and fucking boom. That luck plays a factor into it, and what they're looking for at the time. But if you made it. I fucking made it years ago. I just wasn't enjoying it because I thought I had to get to this to be happy. You can be happy right the fuck now. And I mean, right now, I couldn't be happier with I work clubs that I like. Right? I don't have to work clubs that I don't.
He's working at the Comedy Club at Kansas City this weekend. At the Comedy Club case.
Our new sponsor, dude.
Hey, dudes.
Hey, dudes. Shoes.
Those are great. I hope you like those.
I love them,
man.
Yeah, I just think that it's like, dude, the fact that we get to tell jokes, it's crazy. It's nuts that comedy is exploding. It's huge right now.
Yeah.
People are making money and having families and living your life and enjoying shit. Just you have to be grateful for some of the shit. And if you're grateful for things, if you wake up and you're genuinely grateful for what you got, I was talking to that kid last night. He's living in a van.
He's building a van.
He built a van.
Mitchell Harmon.
And he's going to go try to do shows and sleep in the van.
Good.
I mean, I was like, dude, congratulations.
That's a nice van too. Usually when people do that, it's like clunkers that are going to break down. I mean, that's like a nice van.
You know the experiences that kid's going to have in a year or so when the stories he's going to tell,
yeah.
the sadness, the jubilee, all this. He's going to have this amazing thing that he did because he just said fuck it.
I always just had to sleep in a Honda Accord.
You slept in a Honda Accord
for a while. Yeah.
Where?
Wherever it was parked. I mean, just traveling around. I mean, like, I never had a bigger car. I always went with the 30 mile, and I never thought like, well, I'm going to live in my car. It's just sometimes you'd have to sleep in it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, don't do that.
It was never a plan.
I mean, don't do that. That's failure. But you need an apartment. No. You need a van with a bed. No. Yeah, dude. It's who gives a shit, man? You know what I mean?
The van is a good way to go.
Van is a good. That's the one thing though. Like when you do have a kid, it does anchor you down. You know what I mean? So like I see some guys, just like Ari bugs me because he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go live in South America for 6 months and then go live in Europe for the rest of my life. It's like, huh? He's like, yeah, I just am leaving. Like his special's coming out.
Yeah.
And he's just going to leave right when the special comes out.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got a special coming out in April, I think, another one on Netflix. And right when the accolades and the success and all the hoorah from that, he's going to live in South America and just go off the grid. And that's crazy. That's insane, awesome, wow. I could never do that. You know what I mean? I have to. I can't just leave my son and my wife for 6 months and go learn Spanish.
But coming back from that, I mean, it could create some great hype for him.
But he doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
That's why I love him. He just does what makes him happy. You know what I mean? It's like not about the money or the popularity with him. It's like, what do I want to do? What the fuck do I want to do? I think I want to go do this. All right, I'm going to go do it. He was one of the guys that like made, like when he was like, I figured out what I had to make a year to survive and everything else was gravy. And it was like 40 grand to pay all your bills or something like that. I was like, that's fucking great. That's it. That's all you have to do, really.
Yeah.
Is make this much money to pay these bills. And then everything else is kind of gravy, you know? But I think when you're like trying to get to that guy's point, you're fucked, you know? Because it's funny too, because everybody comes down the other side of it, you know? I think.
I mean, that's the thing about just being in a competition. You just got to work as hard as you can. And that's kind of with everything. Just kind of just keep looking forward, work as hard as you can, as long as you're doing the best that you can.
Yeah.
Don't be worried about what they're doing. Everybody's going to rise at their own. Especially in comedy, there's always going to, no matter how many years into it, there's always going to be that brand new kid who's suddenly emceeing, and then there's people who are like, I've been trying to work for this for 3 years and he's already up there. And well, I mean, you're not him.
No. It's not him.
He's got it figured out pretty early.
I remember like when I first started my podcast, and I used to have Dan Soda and Joe List and Luis Gomez on it. And they were just nobodies. Like nobody knew who they were. They all had fucking jobs. And they were, Joe was an alcoholic, and they would come in and now to do like the regs with them, and
what a cool show.
They're the funniest stand-ups right now. You know what I mean? Like Dan Soda, Joe, and Luis are right there. They're the guys. You know what I mean? Who are killing it right now.
We had Joe last week.
Yeah, he's fucking one of the best.
We got Luis coming up here. We've had Dan.
Yeah. It's crazy to see that progression of these kids, and then you see them fucking pass you.
I love seeing. I mean, that's where I'm at now. Like when I came into here, like it was never about I'm going to come here and perform. Like I probably perform as a comic club owner. I won't even consider myself a comic anymore because I'm not putting the work in that I use. Right, that's just me. But I came in with the goal, I want to help rebuild Kansas City. I want to build a community. So I love watching people grow and flourish. I love that there's people who started here who are out, opening for amazing comics like Mark and Joe and just like, or like getting these great social media followings in New York and LA. And it makes me really happy that I can help facilitate.
Well, Kansas City comedy was fucking hurting. When I first started coming here, and I worked, it was Sanford and Sons or something. I think it was called. Dude, that was the Wild West. Like,
so when I first started, you would go out on the road and be like, "Oh, Kansas City, you guys have great comics coming out of there. You guys are dirty but really funny." And then a few years later, it was, "Oh, you have to work for for Glazers. Sorry." And then a few years from that is I won't even work there anymore.
100%, dude. When I first came here, I was young. This was great. It was crazy.
Can I pay you with cocaine?
Yeah, dude, it was like, you know what I mean? But then it was like, that club was fucking nuts. I think the first time I worked there, I remember the guy was like, yeah, look right there. That's a bullet hole. Last week, Lewis Black was here, and they shot from the streets into the club. I was like, God. That's not like, that's not something you should be proud of, dude. There's a fucking bullet hole in the front window.
Yeah.
And I remember I was on stage, right? And I remember it was...
I started with them.
It was, crazy, the crowds, right?
Yeah.
I remember the host was on stage, and he's doing his shit. He's kind of bombing. And then some lady was like, shut the fuck up. Some old big black lady was in the back. And he was like, he said something to her. And then he goes, hey, you need to stop talking. Try to be real polite. She's like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he was like, hey, listen, bitch, shut up. And she threw a beer stein. Those beer on stage.
Oh, my God.
Literally missed his head by an inch, smashed the wall. And then the glass hit some dude's shin in the front. And he was bleeding. And I just remember they're dragging her out. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your headliner. He just brought me up. I was like, what? And I remember I got on stage and the guy's bleeding. You can literally see like blue blood coming out of this guy's shin. I'm like,
Oh my God.
bro, you all right? You should go to the hospital. He says, I'm good, man. Keep going. I'm like, I don't know if I can. So I had to like do a set with this fucking dude. He's like getting paler as we're doing the show because blood's leaving his body. And I just did the shit. But back then it was kind of rock and roll, but it got taxing real quick.
That place, they'd put 300 people in that attic upstairs.
Upstairs,
You'd
man.
have to climb over people to get to the stage.
Buddy.
Like, it was nuts.
It was nuts. And he would sit in the crowd. So he'd bring his friend, you got to see this guy. And he would sit there and he'd yell like, do the one with it. It's like, oh. Yeah, Kansas City comedy was ruthless. I remember Dan, when they moved to the airport, and Dan called me up. Dan Soda called me up because he was headlining his first week in Kansas City. And he was so sad and so depressed because the crowds were so fucked up and so rowdy. They were just yelling shit out. And they put you in a hotel. You had to walk through this parking lot. And it was like a 30-minute walk through a parking lot from the hotel to the club. And I remember he called me on the walk. He's like, Bobby, I think I'm going to hang myself. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can make the weekend. And like they made you go like Thursday through to Monday. It was wild.
They would do Wednesday through Sunday for a long
Wednesday
time.
through Sunday. So you go there Wednesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday 2, Saturday 2, Sunday 1. You go home Monday. It's like you lived here.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I remember Dan was calling me, so I had to like pep talk him through the weekend.
And depending on which club, the hotels could go either way.
Oh, hotels.
You
I mean,
know.
some of the worst hotels.
So
I mean, the hotel you put us up is nice. All I want is a gym. I want a little coffee, and I want a flat TV. I just want the TV to be flat. I don't want a square TV. I don't want a fucking no breakfast. Like I don't want no coffee.
right.
You know, and
If there's a console television, I'm out of here.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't want to be in a condo with the fucking feature. I don't want to.
Nobody does.
I don't want to. Look, if I was a feature, I love the condo. MC, fucking great.
What if there was a headliner only, like apartment condo?
There's only 2 that I would do. I think the one in Denver.
I know it's do they?
Denver has but their condo is like
Common Works.
and the one in the Mothership has a condo now.
Okay. And the comics stay there.
Yeah, but like the Mothership one is the hotel they put you in. One side is hotel, one side is condominiums, and it's like you walk in and everything is stacked. Like they put all the stuff you like in the shelves. So I'll show up and there's Gatorade Zero and there's pretzels.
They ask you what you want.
They see your rider, right?
Okay.
And they'll just stock it. So and it's this beautiful place. And I think in Colorado the same thing. It's like this insane place. But you know, I've stayed in some bad. Dude, I remember one time. I'll leave the club name out of it. They put you in a condo and like you take out the spatula and there's eggs still on it. You know what I mean? I don't like seeing condiments from the last 6 comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like half mustards and some mayonnaise.
There's new food every time. Like
I don't want to, you know what I mean? And then I was like, do you clean this? Like we clean it every week. We have a maid come in. I'm like, you clean this condo. Because I looked at the dirty silverware and the dirty shit. The glasses were all fucking dirty. And there was jizz on the coffee table from some, you know, headliner whacking off on the couch late at night. I found popcorn in the couch. I was like, you clean it. Yep. So I literally slept naked in the bed, and I did terrible stuff to myself. I made sure I did extra terrible stuff to myself that week. And then I took my dirty socks and I put them in the pillowcase.
Oh my God.
And I left them in the pillowcase and I made the bed. I made it and I put it back together. And they should come in no matter what and
Change the sheets.
change everything.
Change everything.
Pillowcase,
Yeah.
sheets, everything, right?
Did you know the comic who was there?
Joe DeRosa.
Okay. All right.
So I said, dude, ask him if they cleaned the condo. So he asked. I called him back. I'm like, did they clean the condo? He's like, yeah, dude, this isn't that bad, dude. Dude, it's not that bad. I go to the bedroom. He goes, I go, take the pillowcase off. And he's just here, what the fuck? My fucking... my dirty socks fell out of both the pillows.
Oh
I go, dude,
God.
the stuff I did in that bed, enjoy. Enjoy.
Oh my God.
I was naked all week, and I 3 times a day I did stuff to myself in that bed. So enjoy yourself. You know? That's the place I don't like staying. You know? I don't like that horse shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of it's nice, but
My first check as an MC from Stanford's bounced. I'll never forget that.
oh, that dude,
It was for like, wait, $200? You got this isn't clearing?
dude. I remember he would pick you up. He was on house arrest, so he had a federal ID bracelet on. So I get picked up at the airport by this fucking dude, this kid, and he drives me to a street where the limit was where he could drive. So he went to the limit, and he was waiting in his convertible, and so I had to get out of the car, jump in his car, put my fucking suitcase in his convertible.
He drove you as far as his house arrest bracelet would allow him to drive.
Yeah, so he picked me up, and then he took me, and we did like
God.
7 radio shows that he was on the whole time.
That's Craig, right?
Yeah, Craig. He was on the set, and he was telling me how to do radio. It's like, dude, whatever.
You just got to be funny. Tell jokes.
You got to tell your joke. Yeah, you got
to be quick. You got to just do
get into your act, man. Get into your act. What you want to get into your act and get into it, and that's the way they're going to come down. Now, I'll set you up with some stuff if you need it. And I was just, I found him. I was very endearing to me because he was such a fucking wild, crazy, fucked up dude. And we did 7 radio shows. I mean, he was on every single one of them. And I remember.
I wish it was that easy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is not.
It's a different time, man.
Different.
It's a different time.
That's why we're sitting here.
That's why we're sitting here. So next time I come back, we just replay this fucking thing. And all you guys can stop waiting till the day of to buy tickets, you son of a bitch.
Your day of sales are amazing. You're like yeah. I mean, we haven't sold that many day of in a while. So.
My
people just wait till payday.
Yeah, well, they're all fucking,
They drink too, man.
Do they drink?
Yeah.
That's good. I always look up my crowd and I'm like, oh boy. It looks like some lone guy by himself.
Not too rowdy, drank a lot. I mean, maybe Ethan, I don't think he had to ask too many people to stop talking, so.
There's a couple. There was one chick last night. Wouldn't shut the fuck up.
It's
always hot girls. I have a rule when I do the Comedy Cellar, the Pussycat Lounge on Tuesdays. I do it every Tuesday. Me or uglier in the front row. That's my rule. Me or uglier.
I do couples in the front row.
Any hot chicks.
Yeah.
If you're smoking hot, you're in the back.
Yeah.
I put you in the back.
So like we actually sell the front row now, so it's whoever buys it. So we can't dictate that because we sell the front row.
I think you should have I think we should come up with an app.
But I know what you're talking about.
We should have a comedy club app that all comedy clubs have. And people who talk or get kicked out or told to shut fuck up, you click it and they're in the app, right? So when they buy tickets, they can't get front row.
Front row?
You're only allowed No. Like a thing comes up with her discretions underneath from other clubs.
I think the industry is pretty far from having a universal ticketing system, but it would be wonderful if we could have things in place across the industry.
Well, way to take that in a serious way and not a comedy way. And, what are we, Elon Musk? I'm fucking around. You think I really want the fuck?
We must bring the industry together.
I think the industry is a little far from that, my friend. I think what we need first, the fucking Christ. Whoa.
Great idea, man. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening because we're if you look at this pie chart, it's wild.
Let's get a comedy union first, okay, man?
We tried that in New York. You know that, right?
How'd that?
Well, they were paid $50 a spot in New York for years.
Yeah.
And then we were like, look, man, fuck you. You guys, comedy kind of boomed again, and we all got together. It was Ted Alexandro and Russ Maneve got all of us there. And I remember we had a room, and all of us met, but the fucking... the open micers, like they weren't even, nobody even knew them. They'd be like, can I ask a question? What about the MCs? We were like, shut the fuck up. So it just turned into this, go fuck yourself. And then as soon as we decided to ban a club, like we're not going to work there was just another comic. It's like, fuck, yeah, I'll headline. I have 10 minutes. And the clubs didn't give a shit. So it didn't work because it's such a solo thing. But you know who did step up? The Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
They started paying $85 a show.
Okay.
And then they raised it to $100 a show without asking. So then they started and they raised it. So
they are raising this price for
They
sponsors,
raised the price to accommodate. But I remember I got a big fight with Chris Rock one night because he was like,
the clubs are definitely selling tickets.
Dude, selling a lot of fucking tickets. And I remember Chris Rock came down. He was like, dude, it's a showcase. You know, who gives a shit about it? You should get paid. You leave these clubs alone. I was like, yeah, good for you, millionaire.
Yeah.
I go, we pay our rent with spot money, fuckface. You know, we're not. And I got in trouble. I got in trouble for talking back to Chris Rock.
What kind? I mean, who's going to yell at you for?
I mean, the club owner who had Chris Rock working his club. Yeah, Manny, the old owner of the Comedy Cellar. I was like, you can't talk to Chris Rock like that. You must not talk to him like that. I was like, yeah, but he's like, you must not talk to him like that.
Listen to me, boy chick. Do not talk to Chris Rock like that.
Yeah, he was fucking bullshit.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I had this thing with that I've been working on for years called Comedy Camp, where I bring 3 or 4 comics up into the woods for 5 days with basically nothing except, with a survival person, a safety person, and a camera crew, very small, like 3-person crew. And we film everything. Everybody has a camera on their chest, and we have cameras everywhere. And we take away their, internet, social media, phones, agents. There's no craft services. You have to learn how to, process wood.
And this is 5 days. You said you've been doing this for how long?
No, well, I had this thing called Comedy Camp, and we finally shot it.
Oh.
Up in Canada with Jim Norton, Yamanika, and Bobby Lee.
Oh, my God.
But I don't know what's going to happen with it because a lot of I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Sure.
Because they're figuring out what they're going to do with it.
Well, I hope wonderful things happen to it.
Well, a lot of bad stuff happened up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't, in hindsight, didn't have the right. You forget about, I've been going camping up in the Catskills and stuff like that, which is still dangerous, but where we were in Canada wound up being a lot more fucked up than we thought it would be. So a lot of weird, uncontrollable things happened, and we didn't have the right.
Like wildlife, legal, all of it.
Not legal, but the woods are a scary place, man. The woods, woods are very, it's the wild, man. It was in the middle of nowhere.
Well, now I have to know what happened, so you got to do something with it. I hope that sounds like a really fun project, but I mean,
it was fun. But
was anybody hurt? Nobody was hurt, were they?
It was nobody got hurt to where they
hurt.
Yeah, we all made it down, but it was very challenging and very terrifying and very fucked up, and I feel very bad about it because these are the people that I love.
Yeah.
And I put them in a situation that I didn't expect to be that, and I probably should have, or the people that were working on it. You can't when you're out there in the middle of nowhere with nothing, you can't really foresee what could happen. People or animals or things that go down, and so hopefully, they'll process the footage, and the producers of it and the investors of it will, because I did it myself. I raised the money, and I put my money into it, and I'm hoping that we'll do something with it to let the people see it. But it was fucking. I mean, it was really at some points terrifying to where
even talking about it, you can feel like the emotions that and the sincerity. Like
it was terrifying, man. It
Yeah.
was pretty fucking terrifying and unexpected. But hopefully we can do something with it to present it. I think we owe it to the cast, who went through it
to do something with it.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens with that, and then
it's not like maybe they don't want to put it on. I mean, with streaming that service, I mean, somebody will.
No, I don't
Really?
know. We're going to wait and see
Okay.
what the producers. Right now, we all had this. They all made us sign NDRs to kind of
Okay.
keep it down, but but we did make it down, and everybody's back, and
That's good.
I mean, hopefully that someday we can all get together and talk about it together and figure it out. But we'll see what happens with that. That was one of the things I was doing, and now I'm working on a show. I'm working with Dennis Leary and his son, and Kevin Chapman, and a couple other people working on a show. I want to put a show out there for, what it is to be a dad. You know what I mean?
Dude,
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like we were brought up in this generation where we were just let go into the wild, and now here we are with these. We went through this helicopter, too close, too much, and now, how do you raise a kid now? For me, coming from what we came from in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, now we're here. Like I want to do a show about that type of struggle of, how you get through this. So we're working on a show about that, about kind of my life where I'm at, of being a stand-up, not being Shane Gillis or Louis C.K., but making a living. And my whole thing is to leave to get back to these people, to be with them. So trying to come up with a show like that right now. So hopefully we get it done and pitch it this year.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I think guys need, you know what I mean?
Like a
It's
positive.
something where it's like, hey man, okay, somebody else is going through this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone else is trying to be some other guy out there is trying to do his best. Trying to do our best with what we got.
I can say that as far as like dads and stuff, I mean, a lot of these laws that are still in place for like parental and family, these were put in place still to protect women who had kids out of wedlock in the 1920s.
Yep.
And these are still the laws that like we're fighting against and like within the realms of today. So there definitely needs to be some updates and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard to be a dad when you didn't have one.
Like I needed a we weren't married when my oldest was born, right? And I needed a judge. I signed the birth certificate. I took care of him from day one. I'm the dad, but I need a judge to sign a piece of paper saying I'm the father. Like,
Right.
what the fuck are you talking about?
It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, a lot of stuff on being a mom. You know what I mean? Or how are you a husband in 2025? The rules have changed. Can't hit them. It's hard. You can't.
I tried. I tried to do it. I just couldn't do it.
And then I'm working on the app for comedy clubs.
What's the app?
With the Face app we were talking about. The industry's not ready for it, but I think we can get it done.
Are you working on?
No, you
Shut
fucking
up.
asshole. I mean,
Shut
Jesus
up.
Christ, it's 2 times with the same app joke. He still went serious on me.
I'm really interested. Do you need an investor? Here, let's make a commercial for his app. All right. Hey, would you like to sponsor this show with your app?
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea.
We have to check where the industry's at first.
So when they're in the lobby telling me to suck their balls, I can just take a quick picture,
Cha-ching.
upload it to the app.
Upload it to the app.
Facial recognition will find their
Put
socials.
suck my balls underneath it.
Suck my balls.
Underneath it.
Kicked out on this day.
She got kicked out on this day, and then when she comes back, you're in the back.
Those are the people that want to leave 1-star reviews. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, ma'am, we took your drink from you because we kicked you out and you refused to leave.
Yeah.
You charged, you know what I mean? Like,
And she is on the app.
she's
And now you
on
know.
You're on the app.
You're on the
bitch.
app. Whoop, whoop. Oh, sorry. You got kicked out like a month ago, didn't you?
Oh, you're in the showroom trying to have a conversation with your nephew and I'm interrupting your conversation?
Bam.
Motherfucker, you're on the app.
You're on the app. On the fucking app. Now we got it.
You're going on the app. If you're a wooer, you're on the app.
You're a wooer. Now, there's different levels on the app.
Woo!
Yeah, you're on the app.
Woo!
You're a wooer. So when they come in,
Woo!
be like, you got to no wooing. No wooing.
No.
No,
don't
you're a
woo.
level 3. You don't want to go to a level 5.
If you have a conversation with your friend about every joke the comedian tells?
Yeah, you're a level 2.
Where are you going?
Level 2. You're on the app.
You're going to the app.
You're on the app. You're on the fucking app. Right?
You're on the app.
You're on the app. And then you got the old stone face. You're on the fucking app.
I want to see the collection of mug shots.
Yeah.
Like the mug shots for the app. Because it's not going to be the, it's going to be the,
but you
get that out of my.
But on the app, we're going to have good people too. You're a 5-star comedy player.
Yeah.
You get front row. You get VIP seats automatically because you're good. You know when to applaud. You laugh. Right? You shush. Did you shush another audience member when they were being loud?
High five.
You're on the VIP side,
You're
buddy.
on the other app.
Yeah, you get a mug with Kansas City Comedy Club on it. You get incentives to be a good fucking, to be good on the app. It's like the Yelp for people, comedy club people.
The other app.
Yeah. But we get to leave.
I know.
Stars on you.
If only.
You get me a 1 star. Look on the app. You're a fucking 1 star, and we get to write stuff about her or him.
We have
Even though I say her a lot because it's mostly girls who yell shit out.
back of the house, like restaurant term. If you're 86 something, you're 86. Like if we're 86 chicken wings, you're out of chicken wings, right? Somebody in the back here the other day wrote 86 fucks. I walked back there and it said 86. Well, looks like we're all out of fucks to give here at the comedy club.
We call the app 86. That's 86. The name of the app.
Yep.
The 86.
The 86.
You're 86.
You're 86, man.
That's it. I got it. We worked this out.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, brother.
For real, it's an honor to sit down and talk with you and listen to you talk for the great stories, and looking forward to 2 more shows tonight.
Yep.
Where can they follow you?
Punchup.live/Robert Kelly is where all my stuff is. Punchup.live is the fucking best new things for comics. Uncensored. They don't censor any of your videos or content or nothing. As long as you're being funny, they'll put it up, and they give you all the emails. They give you all the algorithms, so you can, like even for this, I sent out over 100 emails in Kansas City.
It's great. From
last time I was here, so that, if you saw me here and you want to come back and see me, just go to punchup.live/Robert Kelly, and you can know where people are and who they are and get in touch with them, which is great. So that's where all my stuff is. And then, of course, I got the YouTube.com/@RobertKellyComedy.
You're on like everything. Serious YouTube.
I'm on,
apps,
yeah.
Instagram,
Big J. Me and Big J do the bonfire on Sirius XM 103, which is, the shit. And then I got a million podcasts, Bone to Pick with Paul Verzi.
Love to get him over here.
Who, Verz? Oh, Big J.
Yeah, Big J.
Oh, Big J hasn't been here yet?
No.
He'd love this club.
Yeah, I mean, everyone else works here. He's been another place since before we ever even opened. So the other place? The other place? The other place. The place that sends out the dollar tickets for all their comics.
You mean the funny?
Oh,
I hit my
oh my goodness! Oh, I have that right on the. I used to make things up.
Right.
Now I'm just hitting my.
Yeah, I got. Yeah. He. I think I got him. He was
when
working.
They changed their name from Improv to Funny Bone.
Yeah.
I immediately went petty and was like, "Well, we are now officially the longest running comedy club in Kansas."
Ooh, wow, that's good. I like a nice technicality.
And I put that by technicality alone, but I will take it.
I love that you know what? I love that there's another you always have to have competition.
Yeah.
Because you're always trying to make it better, and wherever the place the comics are having the best time and the best, that's where people wind up. That's like in Tampa. They always used to go to the other club, right?
Yeah.
And I went to Side Splitters when nobody went there. Like it was like, run by the older guy who I love, but he, and then the new guy BT took over, and they just started. I was there every fucking twice a year, and then I would just be like, dude, you got the other place is fucking fun, and then by word of mouth, it's like, where are you? I'm like, dude, it's fucking awesome, and then it's just comics want to go where other comics are having a good time, so that's you know what I mean.
And that's at the Comedy Club, KC.com. So, well,
and make sure you download the app. 86.
Download the 86 app, and maybe you're on it. And if you don't download the app, you're on the app.
Don't forget Get our new sponsor.
Hey, dudes.
Hey, dudes, shoes. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for having me on.
Well, Bobby, tell your friends to come. Everybody at home, tell your friends to come. Thank you so much for coming on.
You got it,
We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.